lands a major payload on Mars in 2015, will that Sputnik NASA into action?
You created a new verb, sir. We're all going to adopt that.
Okay. Well, maybe. I mean, look, but you can't count on it. Frankly, I think what SpaceX has done to date, it represents the Sputniking of NASA and the mainline aerospace industry, and they have not responded yet. Now, of course, landing a major payload on Mars is a somewhat more spectacular feat than sending a Dragon to the space station. It would start to wake some people up that unless they start doing bolder things, they're going to be made irrelevant. So there's that possibility. We'd have to see.
Yeah, that last part sort of answers my question. Bouncing off these other two questions, do you think that Mars One, when it finally gets going, will start to accelerate other private projects such as Mars Direct or Mars Express or any of these other private enterprises that are going on?
Do you think Mars One would accelerate some of the other private efforts once they get going and have success?
Well, it might. I mean, certainly showing that this can be done privately is proof that things like this can be done privately, and would encourage other people to launch similar or analogous ventures. And if I were you, I would regard them not as competitors, but as proof of value of your own activity. Just as, you know, there's now a program in Hawaii where they're somewhat copying some of what we're doing at our Mars Desert Station. I don't regard that as a bad thing. I regard that as a good thing. We're opening up an area of research. We hope more people enter it. And if you guys can show that private groups can do something profound in space, I think that both will draw support to you, but also encourage other people to launch their own projects, and that would be a good thing.
Yeah, my question has to do with future sustainability.
Quicker questions so we can get quicker answers.
Is there a plan in place, or is there anything in the design phase to make the colony self-sufficient in the future in case, for some reason, Earth-based support is cut off?
Are there some things we should do in the design phase of the colonization to allow self-sufficiency of the colony in case there is an interruption of support from Earth?
Yes.
I'm sure you'll cover that in your closing remarks.
In terms of sending payloads to Mars and landing payloads to Mars, you need experts who know how to do that. Most of those experts are at NASA. SpaceX does have some, I think, but they work very closely with NASA. Is it realistic to count on getting experts from NASA to actually work on some of the planning for this mission in later stages? Or would it have to be entirely provided by SpaceX, for example, or some other organization?
Sir, did you hear the entire question?
I'm not sure I did, but I think it's, to what extent could one hope to enlist NASA cooperation?
Essentially, and technical details like trajectories.
I got this.
Yeah.
So he's pointing out that most of the experts in landing things on places other than the Earth are currently in NASA or organizations, government organizations like them. Is the cooperation of NASA or organizations like it something that we will have to count on, or do you think that we can entice those persons who have that expertise to work with initiatives like Mars One?
Oh, I think you'll be able to get cooperation. I think you can sign SpaceX agreements with JPL and hire their trajectory planning group. If you've got the bread, they'll play ball. You know, you'll also want support from the Deep Space Tracking Network for your communication system. You're also going to want support from somebody's launch facilities, whether it's NASA's or ESA's or someone. This stuff is for sale, you know, and you'll be able to hire it if you can raise the money.
Okay, sir, there is no shortage of questions, but there is a shortage of time. So what we'd like to do is give you a chance to make some closing comments before we move on to the next piece. And I think before you make your closing comments, we'll go ahead and give you your round of applause. You've definitely gotten the honor.
Okay, well, first of all, once again, I'd like to congratulate you for taking an interest in Mars One, and I hope you can drive it to success. I also would like to invite you to participate in the Mars Society. The Mars Society is having its international conference in Boulder, August 15th through 18th. You can see the agenda online. You're all invited. I also want to emphasize that inasmuch as Mars One is a Mars settlement effort, it's not a mission flyby or something, that ultimately what Mars One is about what happens on Mars, much less so than what happens on the way to Mars. And so it's not about aviation, it's about settlement, and although there's an aviation element to it. Therefore, I believe, and this has been a great interest in the Mars Society, which is ultimately about first exploration and then settlement of Mars, and that is why we built these Mars practice stations in the desert in Utah and in the Arctic. Now, first of all, the Mars Desert Research Station either just has or is about to very shortly publish its call for volunteers, for people who want to sign up and be members of the crew of the Mars Desert Research Station. And I know, in fact, that one of the leaders of Mars One, Arno Wilders, has been a member of the crew of the Mars Station. He was on one of the earlier crews. You're all invited to volunteer. But beyond that, I would hope that, especially for this long duration, those, by the way, are 2-week rotations in the desert. But we have a 1-year mission that we're planning, which is going to be a tremendous challenge, and I think it's going to draw worldwide attention. As proven by, if you look at all the attention that Mars 500 got, and those people were just sitting in a room in Moscow playing chess. Whereas this is going to be people up in a polar desert, Mars-like environment, in the Arctic, conducting a sustained program of field exploration while having to take care of the equipment and enduring isolation and all the stress. It is my earnest wish that Mars One team with us on this. So I hope that you and both the members of Mars One and the leaders of Mars One that take this seriously. Our hands are reaching out to you on this. I think that if we can do this, and whether you do this or not, you're going to have to do some intermediate projects of this kind to draw support to do more ambitious projects. I think if we can do this, we'll be able to earn a lot of credibility to mobilize much larger resources to do still more ambitious things, including flying things to Mars and settling Mars. So, in any case, I wish you well. Good luck, Mars One.